Tonight, breaking news from the small community of Wilder as federal and local law enforcement raid a private racetrack.
I'm Brady Caskey here in Wilder, where a massive police operation is underway. I've also seen folks chained up being loaded into vans here. We also have a really big turnout of family members looking to reunite with their loved ones.
The FBI calls it a criminal investigation into illegal gambling, but community leaders call it excessive force.
Protests are going on this afternoon as we speak after the FBI raided what it says was an illegal gambling ring at a horse track in Wilder.
Around 200 protesters protesting against the events that happened over the weekend in Wilder. Now, we do have several counter protesters also across the street.
Have you heard anything else going on there as far as who was released and who is still in custody? Any answers there today?
A lot of them said that their young teenagers and kids were released. Now, that's because they showed proof that they are citizens.
Tonight, we take you inside the raid, the aftermath, and the outcry that shows no signs of slowing down as an unknown number of people are still detained.
Where are our kids at? Why are kids being detained?
Luna explains that while they were walking onto the property trying to locate their loved ones, they were confronted by aggressive law enforcement officers.
Don't touch me!
They just told me to shut up, and they shoved me to the ground. I got kicked.
Yvonne's mother tells me she was held at gunpoint during the raid as agents stormed the property.
Everyone there was doing legal, lawful activity. And when we got over to them, the FBI agents there zip-tied us really tight, actually. It was cutting off circulation to my hands.
We hope to ask FBI and local leaders more about their massive response, but that press conference was called off.
I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm heartbroken, and I'm sad.
We found him at the Boise facility because we tracked his phone.
He saw how we were separated from my father, his grandpa, and it's just something that is gonna haunt us for the rest of our lives.
How does one handle that as a counselor with PTSD and kind of reminding them law enforcement can be trustworthy with them experiencing that?
You know, that's a really tough question, because with situations like that, we can't just reassure them that these are things that won't happen in the world. Our world it's broken.
Caldwell Police Chief Rex Ingram sat down exclusively with Idaho News 6.
We just want to reiterate that the statement that the Department of Homeland Security put out could not be farther from the truth.
4 people have been arrested after hundreds of law enforcement agents gathered for a massive operation here in Wilder. Officials say they served a federal search warrant against an alleged illegal gambling operation. I'm your neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey, and I was here for hours on Sunday while people were detained, questioned, and some were released. Others are now in police custody.
Now, if your family member is undocumented, there's a high chance they're going to be detained.
A farm in Wilder was hosting a large rodeo-type event at La Cathedral Arena when law enforcement raided the venue. According to an FBI press release, 4 people were arrested for illegal gambling, including the owner of the farm and a U.S. citizen, Ivan Tellez. Parents and community members showed up trying to figure out what happened to their children. It turned into some tense moments between the Hispanic community and law enforcement that included shooting rubber bullets towards the crowd.
Imagine if your kid was in there.
Before law enforcement got control of the scene as people wanted answers.
People were getting really restless. They wanted to know where their family members were. They wanted to know what was happening. They wanted to know where their children were, why their children were being detained. They weren't sure if this was an ICE operation or what type of operation it was, and they just wanted answers.
To learn more about the situation, I went to the other side of the property where I got a better view of the operation and saw ICE agents, DEA, FBI, state, and local law enforcement had set up a large-scale screening area where they were questioning people who were zip-tied or handcuffed.
Immigration will screen these people. What they do at that point, I don't know for sure.
I saw some people were chained and loaded into vans by agents. I also saw kids reunited with their families and police drones searching for people in a nearby cornfield.
We don't have so much people that look like us, and when we do, we try to
get together and gather in community, and I think it's going to discourage people from going out. People are going to be scared.
Jeanette Orozco's father was detained as part of the raid.
People don't realize the situation until it really happens to them. I've been aware, and I've been really a big advocate in our community and trying my best to make sure all voices are heard. And I just want people to know out there that just because it's not happening to you doesn't mean it's not happening.
And at a community meeting later Sunday night, some in attendance said people were offered $1,000 to self-deport. The FBI special agent in charge and Canyon County Sheriff Karen Donahue are expected to give further statements later today. In Wilder, I'm your neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey for Idaho News 6.
On Sunday afternoon, a large law enforcement presence surrounded this property after an alleged illegal gambling operation. I'm your Canyon County neighborhood reporter Victoria Rodriguez, and I spoke exclusively to one of the property owners and parents of one of those arrested.
Duré desde la 1 hasta las 4, 5, 6 de la tarde, esposado.
According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, 4 individuals were taken into custody on Sunday following a massive law enforcement operation at La Catedral Arena, a private racetrack in Wilder. One of those arrested was Ivan Tellez, one of the owners of Tellez Farms. I spoke exclusively with his father, Andres Tellez Juarez, who also owns the property. He walked me through his home, showing where federal officers forced their way in, breaking doors and rushing through rooms. Ivan's mother tells me she was held at gunpoint during the raid as agents stormed the property. He also walked through the back area where dozens of people were detained. As he explained the moment, he says he was zip-tied and watched others taken away.
Espero que toda la gente me apoye en este sistema. Pienso que las personas que ingresaron aquí abusaron mucho de su fuerza.
Tellez says what was supposed to be a relaxing Sunday horse race with families enjoying the event took a sudden turn when law enforcement moved in and chaos broke out.
Gente adulta que viene a divertirse, a destresarse un poquito de la semana de trabajo, abusaron de la fuerza de ellos. A niños de 12, 13 años los traían esposados, a mujeres de 70, 80 años las traían esposadas.
He says several people asked officers to loosen their restraints, but claims those pleas were ignored.
Pedía de favor que le movieran a uno las esposas, a unos con las manos ya moradas, otros dañados de la espalda y con las esposas bien apretadas les pedían de favor que les aflojaron las esposas y se rían o hacían esta cosa. Estás bien, pum, los echaban.
Andres believes his son was wrongfully arrested, saying the operation should have been handled differently.
En mi punto de vista, tanto al gobierno como a los militares que vinieron, abuso de fuerza. Nada les había costado con venir el sheriff a arrestar a Iván o arrestarme a mí como dueño. Iván, déjalo, porque yo soy el que me han gustado los caballos toda mi vida.
As we learn more, you can continue finding coverage on this story on our website at idahonews6.com. Reporting in Wilder, I'm your Canyon County neighborhood reporter Victoria Rodriguez for Idaho News 6.
I'm our neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis. The way state and federal authorities storm in a Wilder horse track Sunday isn't sitting well with hundreds of people who say they were detained and separated from their families.
When I started noticing a helicopter off in the distance by the fields, thinking it was air ambulance or somebody, and then next thing you know, you just hear boom when I see everybody take off.
For Ashley Palomares, it started as a typical Sunday with friends at the track to watch horse races.
And when I had turned around, that's when I saw military vehicles approaching us, and then people in military uniforms with, I don't know if they were pellet guns or whatever they were shooting, they were holding it up.
I got it. Seeing the chaos, she grabbed her phone and started live streaming on Facebook to show everyone what was happening, but most importantly, to warn others.
Like herded us as cattle, like inside the track. And then they telling us, keep going, all the way till the track ends. And everybody's like, okay, now what? And they start zip tying people.
Still recording and demanding answers. She says things took an even darker turn. When to her shock, she found herself being shoved to the ground.
Next thing you know, I have 4 or 5 different agents like on me trying to like get a hold of me, and they threw me around. They put their knee on my shoulder, my back, and my legs, zip tied me and threw me that way.
For hours, she explained she saw families being separated into lines, but what hit her the hardest was seeing little ones begging to be held by their parents.
There was one that asked, "Mom, where's Grandpa? Where's Grandpa?" Or, "I'm hungry, like, I need to go bathroom." I'm like, "Can we leave?" And their kids are like, "No," like, their parents were like, "No, like, don't worry, like, we'll leave in a second. Like, you just have to hang on."
Ashley is a U.S. citizen, and she says she was eventually untied and escorted back to her car, where she later saw others being shackled in chains and loaded into vans.
My wrist still has light scarring from the zip ties. My shoulder was sore, my back was sore. Luckily, there wasn't any significant bruising.
Coming up tonight at 6, we hear from Annabelle Romero. The mother of these children talks to us. She says her teen daughter was held at gunpoint at the scene, and the words an agent told her that she will never forget. These are Annabelle Romero's kids.
It honestly broke my heart to see my kids running towards my sister-in-law and my sister. Like, my kids didn't deserve to go through that at all.
Romero says she'll never forget what she experienced Sunday when panic broke out among hundreds of families at a horse race event at La Catedral Arena in Wilder.
Once I heard screaming and running, I panicked a little bit. I was like, well, what do I do? I honestly, took off running with the people. I had my kids in the truck, and I just called my daughter, and I was like, don't get out of the truck. Keep the kids in there. I don't know what's going on.
She says people sprinted towards the horse stalls to hide, not knowing what was coming next. Federal agents shouting, scattering the crowd, and tearing families apart. In the video shared with Idaho News 6, you can hear Annabelle exchange tense words with officers.
Don't touch me!
And they just told me to shut up, and they shoved me to the ground. I got kicked on the side. They brought the shoulder all the way back. They shoved my face into the horse shavings that were in the stall. I couldn't really breathe or anything, and they zip tied me. And I kept on telling them that I couldn't breathe.
That's when reality hit. Her 6-year-old son with autism, 8 and 14-year-old daughters were still inside their truck, unaware of what was happening after she left them there to finish their meals.
I was screaming for my kids and everything, and I saw my kids, and my 2 little ones ran up and were crying. And they're like, "Mom, we couldn't find you." They took us out of the truck with a gun. So they took my kids out at gunpoint, out of the truck. And my 14-year-old daughter was with them, and they actually dragged her out of the truck.
Annabelle says while she and her daughter were zip-tied, her other children walked around offering water to others. While she says agents focus on asking for documentation instead of criminal history. Born and raised in Idaho, just like her kids, Annabelle says after hours of interrogation, her children were released.
All that, it just breaks my heart that they had no sympathy towards kids. No sympathy. And all these people, they didn't care if it was criminals. All they wanted was the people that were illegal. That's all they wanted. They didn't care.
The FBI issued a modified statement on Wednesday regarding that raid at the racetrack in Wilder on Sunday. Now, in that statement, they said that they denied the children were zip-tied during the operation, writing, quote, "Reports suggesting children were zip-tied or hit with rubber bullets during the October 19th FBI-led operation in Wilder are completely false." Now, Idaho News 6 pushed back on that claim, and we sent them this photo. It was shared to us by that girl's mother, and you can see that she is zip-tied in that photo, and she says that she is a 14-year-old U.S. citizen. The Bureau then modified their statement saying no young children were zip-tied or hit with rubber bullets. They did not offer any clarification of what qualifies as a young child.
All week, we've heard from families speaking exclusively to Idaho News 6, sharing how Sunday's federal raid in Wilder has changed their lives. I'm your Canyon County neighborhood reporter, Victoria Rodriguez, and I sat down with another woman who says she was unable to care for her 3-year-old son while her hands were zip-tied and her father was taken into ICE custody.
He saw how we were separated from my father, his grandpa, and it's just something that is gonna haunt us for the rest of our lives.
Juana attended the event at La Catedral Arena with her father and her 3-year-old son. She says she didn't know alleged gambling was taking place.
A lot of people would have been smart and would have known that, not to go or not to be there, but it was a family event.
Before agents zip-tied her, Juana told her father to stay close to her and her son. Once restrained, she says she couldn't care for her child.
I told my dad, I was like, please stay with me, don't go anywhere. Just stay with me and the baby. Did see a couple of people that had younger kids like mine that were not zip tied. So I asked one of the agents and I was like, can you just please untie me? My son needs me right now.
She says she watched her son struggle, crying for food and water, while she begged agents to let her tend to him.
He kept asking me, Mom, I'm hungry, Mom, I'm hungry, Mom, I'm thirsty. And I wasn't able to do anything because I was just there. Just need to go home so he can go with my family.
After processing, her father was taken into custody. The hardest part, she says, was her son had to watch.
My dad was doing his process and unfortunately he wasn't able to make it out, so they ended up taking him, and it's so hard. The thing that breaks me more is that my son was having to be there and he had to witness everything.
Juana says her son and father are very close. Now she struggles to explain what happened.
Now he will see a cop car or any type of person with the suit, and if he knows he has weapons or anything, he will be like, the police, were grandpa, saying the police who took his grandpa.
She says the raid disrupted not just her family, but many others, affecting jobs, routines, and daily life.
You're affecting a lot of jobs. There's people that couldn't return back to work, and my dad was one of them.
The experience has left lasting emotional scars for both her and her son.
And then could you just walk us through how your 3-year-old is doing now?
I know I might say it's just a 3-year-old, but I know it's hitting him because every day he'll ask me and he'll be like, where's my grandpa?
The Canyon County Sheriff and Caldwell Police Chief aren't too happy with the Department of Homeland Security. In a joint press release, the two made it clear that the investigation leading to the arrests at the Wilder Racetrack on Sunday was not an ICE-led immigration raid. I spoke with Chief Ingram to get his take on what went down in Wilder on Sunday.
I know there's fear. I know there's anxiety. I know that people are thinking the worst right now, that ICE is going to come into their dairies, they're going to come into their fields, they're going to come into their ranches and just do a mass deportation. That is not the case. But we do uphold the rule of law here.
Caldwell Police Chief Rex Ingram sat down exclusively with Idaho News 6 and felt compelled to address the statements by DHS and ICE that caused confusion. That statement alleged that ICE dismantled a criminal network involving illegal horse racing, animal fighting, and gambling.
We just want to reiterate that the statement that the Department of Homeland Security put out could not be farther from the truth. This was an FBI-initiated operation, not a Department of Homeland Security operation.
But Ingram says ICE agents were asked to get involved as agencies moved in during a horse racing event where hundreds of families were present.
And we asked them to accompany us. We asked DHS to accompany us because we anticipated a large population of possibly undocumented people there in attendance.
As we've reported, owners of the track had a permit for horse racing, but betting remains illegal. ICE ultimately took more than 100 people into custody who they say are living in the country without proper documentation. The ACLU telling us many of those have no criminal history.
This specific location, there's been a lot of complaints about this place for a while. Neighbors are complaining, things are happening there, but they take time. They take time to investigate and to kind of unravel. So yes, if you see something, say something. Most of the things that we get are usually maybe not so credible, but in this case, this was a very credible tip.
We sat down with a Caldwell man who says he's worked as security for a year at the Catedral.
Everyone there was doing legal, lawful activity. Everyone there.
I'm neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis speaking with the man as he recalls the moment he, a U.S. citizen, was zip-tied and detained.
And actually, funny enough, my 14-year-old daughter was one of the children that was in cuffs for about half an hour. She was in zip ties.
And you saw teens being detained.
I saw teens being detained.
John Carter, who runs Security Services LLC, was working what he describes as a family-oriented event and was shocked when FBI agents threw flashbangs at him.
I showed the officers I had a firearm on my side so they didn't freak out when I got closer to them. And when we got over to them, the FBI agents there zip-tied us really tight, actually. It was cutting off circulation to my hands.
Carter says the agents never identified themselves, never gave him the chance to identify himself, despite his attire distinguishing him as security.
So you were flashbang. Do you think they were flashbanging other people within the crowd too? As they were coming in?
I don't know what distances, I couldn't see, but yes, I heard them going off on the property.
And this is a family event, so yes. It was with young children there.
Yes.
While being zip-tied, he says he still tried to do his job as security, keeping everyone calm.
Don't touch me. Back up, back up, back up. Stay back. Hey, you can record over my shoulder, but don't rush.
Carter says he saw families being separated and placed in different areas of the property. He recalls one thing that still troubles him, what he calls sanitation issues.
But when they started sending people over to the second stage area, if anyone going over there that was being made to go over there and go to the bathroom, if they couldn't hold it any longer, we're in full view of people in that second staging area. They were having people go behind a van to use the restroom.
So you could see people going in the restroom?
Yes.
Women?
Women, children, men, didn't matter who.
He went through the ICE process with his team of 6, which included a U.S. veteran.
What really made me come out and decide to get... I've been watching... I'm part of the CCRCC, the Caney County Republican Central Committee. Some of those Republicans I know were just as bad, but it was just the level of misinformation. Oh, it was an illegal event. Everyone there was illegal. It was an illegal event, and they all deserve what they get. That's not the case.
Carter and his crew are still waiting for their firearms that were confiscated to be returned. Carter told us he asked Caney County Sheriff Donahue on the timeline on getting his guns back.
The answer is still, we don't know. We don't know which agency, and we don't know how this is going to be processed just yet.
I've been practicing in this area for more than 25 years. So yes, I have been through 3 different raids in the past, and this is what it looks like. It looks like people not knowing where the family is.
Federal immigration officials confirmed to Idaho News 6 105 people were taken into custody during Sunday's multi-agency operation at La Catedral Arena in Wilder. The statement said officers dismantled an illegal horse racing, animal fighting, and gambling enterprise at the property. The arrests were part of a coordinated law enforcement effort involving several local, state, and federal agencies.
If it takes 4 different agencies detaining everyone in a family event that you can be 100% sure includes kids and citizens to get 4 criminal arrests, I'd say that you need a new job.
Immigration attorney Maria Andrade says many families still don't know where their loved ones are as ICE continues processing and transferring detainees to facilities.
Families don't know where their loved ones are. All they know is one day they were at a family event having fun, and the next minute they were standing in line with everybody being in zip ties and unable to leave, and some they never saw again, and they still don't know where they are.
Meanwhile, here in Nampa, immigration lawyers spent the day offering free assistance to families impacted by the raid, providing legal consultation and guidance on their family members' rights and next steps. Groups like the ACLU of Idaho says it's important families understand the difference between valid warrants and knowing their rights.
Everyone has guaranteed constitutional rights regardless of your immigration status. And so the things that people need to remember is you have the right to remain silent, you have the right to ask for an attorney, and you have the right to not consent to any searches.
As families continue searching for answers, attorneys like Andrade says this moment could determine whether some individuals have a chance to stay in the country.
The biggest thing that families can do is to try and find out if their family member has a reason to fight, because this may be the only chance they're going to get to. Because if they accept a deportation or get deported, that benefit may be gone.
I'm your Canyon County neighborhood reporter, Victoria Rodriguez, and I was there as people like Juana Rodriguez were reunited with their family members. I first spoke with Juana 1 month ago after the raid, and last night as she and her father reconnected. They told me what it was like to be separated, detained, and reunited.
I was able to get the news that my dad was being released. I'm proud of myself because I said I was going to fight for him until I was able to have him back into my arms.
Last month, after the raid, Juana told me she was unable to care for her 3-year-old son while her hands were zip-tied, and her father was taken into ICE custody. Being reunited Wednesday night is a moment she says she will never forget.
And I'm just very happy that my dad is back home, and I will make sure that I enjoy him for every moment until it's the end of her life.
Juana's father tells me he felt pressured by an officer to sign paperwork to self-deport, but he refused, trusting that his daughter would fight for his release.
Digo, no, pues, ¿cómo te vas a arrepentir si ya estás listo para firmar, para irte, no? Dije, no, mi hija me dijo que no, que iba a luchar. Y gracias a Dios, sí.
Her father says the conditions inside the jail were difficult, describing long hours without food and overcrowded rooms.
Muy mal. Cuando recién llegamos, 24 horas sin comer, te meten en un cuarto como 30 gentes que dormíamos sentados así.
He also hopes others in custody don't feel pressured to sign paperwork they might not completely understand, because once you sign, there's no undoing it.
Yo ya estaba a punto de decir de firmar y no firmé.